the Yankees lose the series to the Tampa Bay Rays, and there's a lot of storylines. One being that the trade deadline was a total dud for the Yankees. They really were directionless. Weren't a buyer nor a seller, just kind of staying right in the middle. And then also news comes out about Domingo Germán. He is out for the season, was placed on the restricted list due to alcohol abuse. He will be, seeking treatment. And, I want to talk about Germán at the top here, and then we'll get on to more of the regular stuff. But, Germán really, there's been a lot of turmoil with Domingo, dating years back. I mean, it was, slapping his wife at the CC Sabathia Gala earned him a, season-ending suspension. He was out of he was out of baseball for a while. He was suspended for, I guess it was the remainder. I guess there hadn't been that much time left. The remainder of the 2019 season, if memory serves, and then the full 2020 season as well. Of course, the shortened season, but so he was out of the mix for a while. And I talked about him a lot, during that perfect game. I kind of discussed sort of the trials and tribulations and the ups and the downs, and it's a sad situation. I do think it's a bad look for the Yankees. As much as I want to be sensitive to this, it sounds like there was a pretty bad incident that happened yesterday. What it was, we don't know. And we will be talking about Germán in another sort of weird situation, not calling this a weird situation, but, where the first game of this Rays series, he ends up being scratched with a discomfort in his right armpit. And it ends up being just optics a bad look for the Yankees, which, again, this is optically a bad look for the Yankees, too. We'll get into that. But, for Germán, he's entering an inpatient treatment, facility for alcohol abuse. And, he's out for the season. And to me, this should be the end of Domingo Germán as a Yankee. Now, his contract, I believe, just making 100% sure, but I believe that he would be under contract next season. Yes, he would be. I just think that this is it, for better or worse. Like for Germán's well-being as well. I mean, if nothing else, but I just think you've given this guy a lot of chances, and this is the final straw. It really is. And again, am I maybe being too negative on this situation? Possibly, but you put everything together. And I know this is such an aside, but look, this isn't the same category, but just look, even the sticky stuff this year, he's suspended for that. It's just someone that, there's always something going on with Domingo Germán. I just feel like enough's enough already. And this has got to be it for him. And it's crazy. He pitched a perfect game this year. It's how we look back on Domingo Germán will be a very interesting case, because there were highs and lows and on both extremes. But, wanted to just, get that out the way. Domingo Germán out for the season, and very well, one would think, has thrown his last pitch as a New York Yankee. And the way which was done was almost fitting. A very weird, wacky scenario for Germán in that first game of this series. So now what will happen is Nestor Cortes will take that spot in the rotation. Now, Severino is lined up to start Friday versus the Astros, but to me, if he pitches poorly there, I think he's out of the rotation. I think that's it at that point for the foreseeable future, and potentially, indefinitely. But that's, we'll put that aside for a second. Cortes will take that Germán spot. And on the roster, Keenan Middleton, who was, we'll touch on that, the fucking awful trade deadline, but Keenan Middleton was acquired from the White Sox. He is now on the roster. He took the place of Germán. What will then happen, in all likelihood, and I should also mention that Ron Marinaccio was sent down, which I figured might happen eventually. And I think in large part due to the fact that he threw a lot of pitches this Sunday night, and they needed Johnny Brito, who started Monday. Long story short, Marinaccio is in Scranton, and Brito will, in all likelihood, be sent down for Nestor Cortes. That hasn't happened yet, of course, because Cortes isn't starting till Saturday, but that I would believe is going to be what the plan will be. So I think that's all in terms of any roster stuff. Again, Marinaccio down. Germán out for the season. Brito up for now, but will likely go down. Middleton on the roster, and then soon Nestor Cortez. So all involving pitching. Just want to talk about the trade deadline because I put a short out just about the Yankees acquiring Middleton and Spencer Howard, who was since sent to AAA. Just a really bad job by Brian Cashman. Me personally, I would have preferred selling, although to be fair, there wasn't much to sell. But even if it was rentals, and I know you wouldn't have gotten much back, but as much as I love, let's just use him for an example. As much as I love Wandy Peralta, I really do, and he does serve a unique role. He is the lefty guy. And he is fantastic and great versus lefties. You could have gotten a nice return for Wandy Peralta. Not saying it would have been anything overly crazy, but I understand the Yankees, as we speak, are 3 out on the loss side of that final wildcard spot, which to me, that's the only spot you got. Whereas at one point, okay, to me, Orioles, forget about them. Rays, forget about them. Astros, barring something crazy this weekend, which I don't see happening, forget about them. Texas, I think, likely forget about them. Maybe they drop off, maybe, but I don't think they will. And so really the one spot is the Blue Jays spot. And you still have other teams to kind of contend with, including the Red Sox, most importantly. But, so the Yankees, they're not done. But, man, I would have preferred to sell. But you got to choose one thing or the other. Then do a soft buy. Do something like that and add some pieces here and there. I mean, this offense is completely dreadful. Now, the Yankees tonight got to Shane McClanahan, which they did early in the season. McClanahan's had struggles as well, for the Rays, and he actually left the game early because of injury. But I just think that, it was a terrible job, and now you're starting to hear Fire Cashman chants at the games, and that is a welcoming sound for me. That's starting to happen, and things have the potential to get very ugly, in this last third of a season. The Yankees have 54 games left. Their record now sits at 56-52. They got to get shit done, and it's hard to be confident that they will. I look at this team, and I just, I think the pitching's good. The pitching's good. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say it's amazing. I'm not going to say it's solid pitching. Pitching that can get you through. And we'll talk about Garrett Cole, who's just been nothing short of sensational and is the front runner for AL Cy Young. He is. Without him, I don't know where this team would be. But this offense is truly bad. Truly, truly bad. And it's going to need to get on a run here. And I just don't see that happening. Let's talk about this Rays-Yankee series. And, going into it, the Rays were coming off of a series win at the Astros. Before that, they had struggled. But the Rays take care of business in this series. And again, Game 1 was fucking weird, where Johnny Brito starts, Domingo Germán scratched from his start, and then Domingo Germán ends up coming in relief and pitching 5 shutout innings. So very frustrating the way that it turned out, where Germán was not good enough to start, and the timeline was weird, and the whole Germán story has been strange. Let's just put it that way. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on there, and Brito, unfortunately, struggled. And I think it's to the point now where even though Brito has, in a lot of cases, kept the Yankees in it, Vasquez has been more impressive than Brito, where I think we like to group them together. I actually think that, and look, Vasquez is funny. He pitched well tonight for Scranton, but his season numbers are nothing impressive at all. But everything being equal, and clearly it wasn't. I think it was more to do with, it was more Brito's turn to pitch than Vasquez was probably the reason. But I think everything being equal, Vasquez should be that guy that steps in when they need a starter. Brito struggled, and Tyler Glasnow had his way with the Yankees. Glasnow went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 earned run, which was a Jake Bauers homer, and 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Glasnow was great. The Yankees really did not touch him, and it was another sort of game where the Yankees were out of it. The first 2 games of the series were very similar. Just out of it early, no shot, lifeless and dead. Looking at the lineup for Game 1, it was, one in which Glaber led off. You had Rizzo in the 3-hole, which, to me is still ridiculous. Rizzo did not play the 3rd game, and what do you know, the Yankees won. Although, to be fair, the first baseman, Jake Bauers, in that game, did nothing. So it's not like that, but still, I would not have Rizzo in the top 4 of this lineup. Plain and simple. It's really plain and simple. I would not do that. I think there's other options you could go to avoid that. I'm not saying drop Rizzo, down to 8 or 9. I'm not saying that, but certainly somewhere in 5 or 6, I think is fair, more than fair. So, Game 1, Judge DH, and Judge was DH for all 3 games of the series. I would expect him to probably play about 3 of the 4 games against the Astros. That seems to be a fair guess based on the way they've spoken. Now, look, if he DHs exclusively, then I suppose maybe playing all 4 is possible. But certainly, if he plays 1 game in right field, don't expect him to play each game in the series. So, Johnny Brito gave up 4 homers in this one. Gave up 4 homers, and it started early for the Tampa Rays as Brito gives a leadoff single to Diaz, and then it's a 2-run homer by Brandon Lau, giving the Rays a 2-0 lead. In the second, bottom of the second, Jake Bauers homers. It is his 9th homer of the season, and off the glass now is the homer. He homers against him. And Jake Bauers, look, like against righties, I mean, he should be ahead of Rizzo. Honestly, if it comes down to it, and let's say let's say Boone feels okay, I have to have a lefty in the three hole, and it's against a righty. I'm fine with it being Bauers, as much as I really think that Bauers is awful defensively, and he is, and he can't hit lefties. I mean, we saw that tonight versus McClanahan. He cannot hit lefties, but against righties, who the Yankees struggle against, yes, Bauers should be kind of the guy over Rizzo. So we'll see. But Bauers homers there, makes it 2-1. But then, unfortunately, Brito gives the run right back up. Wander Franco with 2 outs in the 3rd homers makes it 3-1. And that was a killer. Yankees maybe going to build some momentum. Did not happen. And then the 4th. I should mention. Rizzo's streak extends to 0 for 30 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs in the 3rd inning. And it finally got mentioned on the broadcast and on social media. I've been harping on this for a while. Now, ironically, Rizzo breaks the streak in the 2nd game of the series. He actually broke it in a somewhat meaningless spot in the 9th inning. But Rizzo here extends it. And I think he started to hear some boos around this point. Maybe it was just more team boos, but Rizzo strikes out. With 1st and 2nd, 2 out. And that's why you can't have Rizzo batting behind Judge. I mean, they will walk Judge I would walk Judge every time if Rizzo's behind him. 4th inning, it is a situation of back-to-back homers with 2 outs. Isaac Paredes, it's his 21st homer of the year, and then Josh Lowe, it's his 14th. So a bit of a nightmare outing for Johnny Brito. Again, to me, he's not a major league pitcher. I guess he's a serviceable sort of 7th, 8th starter, depth-wise, but not he's not a 5 or a 6. This is a guy that really is more of like I said, a real, someone you don't want to use often. Could he give you a nice outing every now and then? Sure. But, I just don't think he's got the stuff. And then Domingo Germán comes in, which is just perplexing. You never see a guy scratched for his start, and then he comes in and he actually deals. Domingo Germán ends up going, and I understand they're losing 5-1, and I understand that if he started, it doesn't mean you would have automatically won. It doesn't. But Domingo Germán goes 5 shutout innings. 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Looked totally fine. There was no issue. And then ironically, the next day, this incident happens, and now, he's out for the season because of alcohol abuse. But, Glass now dealing as well. Stanton grounds into a double play in the 6th at 5-1. And, with him, if he hits on the ground, it's a double play. I mean, he is one of the slowest players in the league. So, easy double play there. Then, in the 9th, Pete Fairbanks leadoff walk to Judge, and then it's followed by a Rizzo strikeout, Stanton strikeout, and LeMahieu line out to end it. So a real lackluster, typical Yankee offensive performance. They lose 5-1. Game 2. Game 2 was Carlos Rodon against Zach Eflin. And Carlos Rodon, I am not impressed at all so far. This was someone, look, I was very excited about the signing. Very. The numbers were... that he had the last 2 seasons were just nothing short of incredible. Walk to strikeout ratio, everything was just he was truly one of the top pitchers in the game. And I know he's coming back from injury, and I know, look, it's a 6-year deal, but not impressed. I mean, this fastball slider combination, he just seems easy to hit. He's got 2 pitches to work from. He's got to add to his arsenal. Needs to. I mean, it's just not working. And so, even though the Met game, he kind of got through it, and it was ultimately a successful outing. Even in that game, I kind of thought he got a little lucky. I didn't love what he did. And in this one, again, the walks, he's not putting guys away. 4 walks in 4 innings. 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. An ugly line. And he's got a 6.29 ERA right now in the season in 5 starts. And the sample size is still small, but 5 starts, 6.29 ERA. And what's really concerning is 16 walks, 20 strikeouts, and 24 1/3 innings. That to me is the worst. The walk to strikeout ratio is very ugly. And so for me, Rodon, I mean, we'll see what he does against the Astros on Sunday, but he is not inspiring any sort of confidence. And again, the Yankee offense goes to sleep. Zach Eflin was great. In 6 innings, shutout ball. The Yankees were able to scratch 2 runs out in the 9th inning. And those runs were ugly. And so, again, the offense in these first 2 games was hideous. And in game 2, this lineup saw Bowers leading off. Harrison Bader was on the bench in this one, and there were some trade rumors about Bader. I don't know if that had anything to do with him being on the bench, but he would have a pinch hit appearance. Giancarlo Stanton was also on the bench in this one. He would have a pinch hit appearance, which we'll talk about. So this was a little bit of a different sort of lineup. McKinney was in center. But anyway, again, the Rays jump out to the lead, and it's in the 2nd inning that they do so. It is a Manny Margot RBI ground rule double with 2 out in the 2nd. Ironically, there were some rumors about Margot to the Yankees during the day, which would have been pretty unexpected, in the division, and it just, whatever, didn't come to fruition. And, ironically, Margot gets the Rays on the board. It's 1-0 Tampa. And then in the 3rd, home run by Yandy Diaz, his 15th homer of the year, makes it 2-0. And then Randy Arozarena, an absolute moonshot, 2-run homer, his 18th homer of the year, makes it 4-0 Rays right there. And so, as a Yankee fan, you feel like it's over. You feel like it's over right there. In the 5th, Ian Hamilton comes on, and he would give up a run. He would give up a run with 2 out, an RBI single to Brandon Lau. He would then pitch a scoreless 6th inning. The Yankees continue to really get nothing going versus Eflin. Albert Abreu comes on. He gives the Yankees a couple of scoreless, just the 7th. Scoreless inning in the 7th. Then Nick Ramirez pitches the 8th and the 9th, and he gives the Yankees 2 1-2-3 innings. In the 9th, Colin Poche comes on, the lefty. And with 1 out, Bader pinch hitting gets a sort of a lucky double. And then Judge kind of had hit into some bad luck this series, where even though the stats didn't look anything great, he really, stung some balls, and just, the timing wasn't quite there. But I thought he looked pretty good at the plate. Gleyber Torres gets an RBI double to break the shutout, makes it 5-1. And then Anthony Rizzo breaks that streak. The 0-for-30 streak is no more, as Rizzo finally gets a base hit with runner on scoring position and 2 out. Although, to be fair, no RBI was scored. So I guess in terms of tracking that, still no RBIs with runners on second and beyond and 2 out. And then DJ LeMahieu gets a lucky infield single. Really should have been an error, honestly, because if the throw is better or Diaz scoops it, LeMahieu's out, but it's an infield single. Ball gets by Diaz, and so Fairbanks, the closer, comes on. Tie game at this point. Connor Falefa was due up, and they go to Stanton. And I understand why they did, because you're looking for the home run there. But Stanton, I had forgot. Stanton in his career is dreadful with the as a pinch hitter. Something like 3 for 40. I think that's maybe the regular season statistic. I think if you include playoffs, it's a little bit different. But yeah, about 3 for 40 with 22 strikeouts. It is really bad, and it really makes you think, if you're not looking for a home run, he should, under no circumstance should he be pinch hitting. It's that bad. And what does he do? Looks ugly and strikes out versus Fairbanks. You were hearing some Fire Cashman chants during this game. Yankees lose the series. Game 3, Garrett Cole does what Garrett Cole does, and it actually started out, a little bit shaky. But Cole, the Yanks, I think, are now maybe 9-0 in Cole starts following a loss. He is the stopper. And Cole, just the consistency. 10-2 now with a 2.64 ERA. Best ERA in the American League. And he has just been so steady, so solid. Hit a little bit of one rough patch in May, which is kind of ironic. I've been using that word a lot, because the Yankees, some of their best baseball, their best baseball came in May. And that was kind of coincided with when Cole wasn't quite sharp. So when the Yankees have been struggling, Cole's been really good. And that's been for most of the season. Cole versus McClanahan, and like I said, McClanahan struggled lately, but this is only McClanahan's 2nd loss of the season. He now drops to 11-2. He had been 11-1 coming in. I forget what I wanted. I think there was something I wanted to say. I'll think of it. Maybe it was just the fact that Cole, that the Yankees, win these starts. That Cole pitches after the Yankees lose. But anyway, Rizzo on the bench for this one. And so Bowers played first base, and there was one play in this game where Bowers can't catch the ball, where he had to scoop it on a throw from Glaber, and he didn't. But whatever. Other than that, totally inconsequential. Connor Falefa leads off, and like I think IKF should play versus righties and lefties. I find that they're sitting in versus righties at times. I would let him play as much as he can. He's putting the bat on the ball. I like what he's providing. Should he be batting leadoff ideally? No. But definitely versus lefties he should be. And I just think versus righties, and the Yankees will face a lot of them versus the Astros. I still think IKF deserves those opportunities, but we'll see. I don't know if he'll get them all the time. And look, even if it is over LeMahieu, for example, which we did see that in the Sunday Night Baseball game, I'm even okay with that. I really am. So, oh yeah, this is what I wanted to say. Ben Rortvedt caught Cole. And so what that tells me is, clearly, there is a disconnect between Cole and Higashioka. I'm sure it's not a big deal, but it's surprising that no one's brought it up. I guess because Cole's pitched so effectively. But versus McClanahan, the lefty, and Higashioka's had success against McClanahan as a hitter, and Rortvedt started on Monday, I thought, okay, this will determine to me whether it is a straight anti-Higgy thing or what. And it is. Because Higgy was his personal catcher when it was between Sanchez and Higashioka. Then Trevino comes along, and it's Trevino. And I said, you know what? Okay. A little surprised by that, but you know what? Trevino's a great defensive catcher. Now, Trevino gets hurt, Rortvedt comes up, and now he is Cole's personal catcher. Very odd. I don't know. There's got to be something to it, but there has to be some anti-Higgy thing going on from Cole. Either way, it's working for Cole, and so, people aren't going to ask questions, but I did think it was interesting that we've seen that. So the Rays jump out to an early lead. And after a Yandy Diaz walk, Wander Franco just hits it, out of the stadium almost. 431 feet. I thought it was longer than that, into the sweet level in right field. You don't see guys hit it over there. Very impressive shot. Makes it 2-0. Bottom of the third, Yankees tied up. Harrison Bader doubles. And the thing about Bader is this. Very good versus lefties, not good versus righties. And that's the thing for the Yankees. The Yankees versus left-handed pitching are serviceable, I guess I would say. They are. Not great, but solid. And really from a slugging standpoint, the Yankees are bad versus righties, and sorry to say it, righties kind of are the thing, righties are more of the norm than lefties as far as pitching goes. So that hurts the Yankees quite a bit. Anyway, though, Bader, doubles, and then eventually, Anthony Volpe hits a two-run homer, hits his 14th homer of the season. And Volpe had a 3-hit night, sort of Gleyber Torres, but Volpe, you see signs. That's what I'll say about Volpe, where it's frustrating at times, but it's rookie struggles. He is not the reason why the Yankees are where they are. For Volpe, the future is bright there. And again, 14 homers. Look, this is a guy that he might reach 20 homers this year, which I don't think many people would have thought that. And so the Yankees tied up. It's a big homer for Volpe, makes it 2-2. And then you get a one-out single for Connor Falefa. And then with 2 out, Gleyber singles, and then Giancarlo Stanton with the big blow of the game, a 3-run homer, his 15th homer of the year, also to the opposite field. And I thought a really bad job by McClanahan. McClanahan, it was a 3-1 count. You had Bowers on deck, who looked silly versus McClanahan. Lefty-lefty matchup. And he just, I would have, again, I'm not saying I would have intentionally walked Stanton, but I would have pitched really carefully. And he gave Stanton a great pitch to hit, and he crushes it out. And that was the big blow of the game. Gives the Yankees a 5-2 lead. Cole settles in. It does a great, great job. And he ends up going 7 innings. There were some nice defensive plays by Bader. What I'll also say is Connor Falefa, 2 outfield assists for IKF. His first 2 outfield assists of his career. And so, again, just a good, solid night for Connor Falefa, getting on base, doing well defensively. And so that was good. But Cole was just really great and goes 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, just that 2-run homer to Franco. And the Yankees score a couple of runs in the 7th, which gave him some key breathing room. Kevin Kelly comes on, who the Yankees had some success early in the season against Kelly, if I remember correctly. A 1-out walk to Connor Falefa. He goes to second on a wild pitch. With 2 out, you get a single by Gleyber, but a nice play by Franco to keep it in the infield. He saved a run. And then Giancarlo Stanton gets his 4th RBI of the night. An opposite field RBI single, makes it 6-2. Greg Allen then pinch runs for Stanton. So you got first and third 2 out, and a double steal is successful for the Yankees, where Greg Allen tries to steal second. Gleyber darts home. And it's successful, as then Greg Allen kind of tries to hold back, but I think Franco couldn't handle the ball correctly, and so a fairly easy steal of home for Gleyber Torres, and the Yankees take a 7-2 lead. In the 8th, Tommy Kahnle comes on. He strikes out the side. Then in the 9th, Clay Holmes comes on, and he gets a couple of strikeouts as well. A scoreless 9th, and the Yankees win 7-2. A much needed win. The Yankees really were the dominant. You don't see games like this. This is a rare, quality, crisp, good Yankee win. And when the Yankees hit 2 homers or more, they're like 37-10. That's the magic number. The Yankees hitting 2 homers means good things for them. They just have not done that nearly enough, especially lately. So now let's just quickly talk about this Astros series. This will be the first series versus the Astros since last year's playoffs. The Yankees were swept by Houston. The Astros come to town, and let's talk about some pitching matchups. It'll be Christian Javier, who, if you remember last year, was part of that no-hitter. I think he threw 7 of those 9 innings, if memory serves, against the Yanks, and I think Javier was really good versus the Yankees. He was really good versus them in the playoffs as well. Now, the thing with Javier, though, is on the season, he has not been great, but he's been great versus the Yankees. So it'll be Javier versus Clarke Schmidt. I can't remember too many Clarke Schmidt starts versus the Astros. I didn't do much research on that, but it's not coming to mind. I'm sure there were a bunch of relief appearances, and in fact, I kind of remember him coming in relief in the ALCS, and I think kind of unsuccessfully. But this will be an interesting test for Schmidt, who has had a nice stretch of just keeping the Yankees in games. So that's that first matchup. Game 2 will be between Hunter Brown and Luis Severino. Brown, I think he's considered a rookie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was up last year, but Brown has had some ups and downs, but I would say it's been a fairly impressive year for Brown. He's a guy that's got a lot of upside versus Luis Severino, who has been awful, but has had some good success versus the Astros again, like in the past. He really has. So, again, kind of an opposite situation. No, kind of a similar situation with Javier and Severino. Severino more to the extreme, of course. Severino's been terrible. But, let's see what happens there. And then games 3 and 4. Justin Verlander is back as an Astro, just in time to face the Yankees this season, probably for 2 series, as he's traded from the Mets. So Verlander, very good chance the Yankees will face Verlander maybe 4 times this season. So he's not penciled in yet, but Verlander will start Saturday or Sunday. And then likely Framber Valdez as well, coming off of a no-hitter. So this weekend concerns me a lot. For the Yankees, it'll be Nestor Cortes on Saturday. His pitch count will be at around 60, as he skipped his rehab assignment. I think with this Germán thing going down, this is what necessitated it. And then Sunday, Carlos Rodon. So that's what you're looking at. I always like to kind of project the series. I think splitting is a win. I think splitting the 4-game set is an absolute win. Just considering what could happen, what the Astros do against the Yankees, I'll take 2 out of 4 all day long. I suspect the Yankees will lose 3 of 4. That is my prediction. But let's see what happens. Things are not great in Yankee land, but hopefully, some brighter days are ahead, as much as I don't feel like it will happen. And again, Domingo Germán out for the season. Wish him well, as, his life is a lot more important than Yankee baseball, and hopefully he gets the help he needs. Clearly he needs it, and we'll see if we find anything more about the incident from yesterday. Maybe we'll never find out. Maybe we'll find out soon. Trade deadline comes and goes. Yankees do nothing. Yankees lose the series 2-3 to the Rays, and now come in the defending World Series champion, the Houston Astros, coming to Yankee Stadium for a 4-game set.